Welcome back to BWO Daily, your source for news in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling from your boys at Busted Wide Open. My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and breaking news today, Nick. We have another major piece of fallout in the wake of hashtag speaking out. Sammy Guevara, a few years ago, about 4 years ago, on the TWFS podcast, was talking about his time in WWE as an extra, and he mentioned Sasha Banks. The topic of Sasha Banks was brought up, and Sammy said, "Oh yes, I would like to, quote, rape that woman," which is obviously wildly inappropriate. Well, that's coming back to bite him now. People found that the audio of that, replayed it, and now the consequences are coming home. Sammy did make a statement about it. He said, "I've made stupid, inappropriate, and extremely offensive comments in my past. In my idiotic mind, I thought I was being funny in using words and terms that represent nothing but horror and pain. I am truly sorry for my hurtful words and actions, and I will never forgive myself." He also, in a separate tweet, said, "I also want to apologize to Sasha Banks for my unacceptable comments. She's an amazing person who didn't deserve to be the brunt of my offensive remarks. I spoke with her earlier, and she helped me learn a gigantic lesson, and I thank her for that. Once again, I'm sincerely sorry." So, Nick, this story broke right as we were getting ready to go on air today. So this actually was evolving as I was prepping the show. And one of the other things that happened, obviously, we found out that Sammy has now spoken to Sasha about this, and this is very recent. Sasha tweeted out this morning, "Earlier, I spoke with Sammy. He apologized, and we had an open discussion. Words like the comments he made, jokingly or not, have absolutely no place in our society. I don't condone or tolerate this kind of behavior. What one thinks is just a side comment can have a massive impact on someone else's life and can send the wrong message. We have to hold ourselves accountable for our actions and the words we say, and I hope the situation shows him that. I hope from this point on, in order for growth and change within our community to take place, we can all continue to have these conversations. No person, man, woman, or child should ever be subjected to a feeling of fear or any unsafe environment. We all have to do better, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come." So it sounds like he and Sasha have spoken and buried the hatchet. He's taken responsibility for his actions. So at least on that front, there seems to be some resolution. Unfortunately, AEW did take action against him for this. They released a press release that said, "AEW insists on doing our part to create a world of understanding and respect for humankind. We therefore strongly condemn the extremely offensive and hurtful words of Sammy Guevara. As such, effective immediately, Sammy is suspended without pay until further notice. Sammy has agreed to undergo extensive sensitivity training, and upon completion, his future status within the company will be reevaluated. During his suspension, his salary will be donated to the Women's Center of Jacksonville." So Sammy Guevara out for an indefinite period of time at AEW, thanks to comments he made on a show a few years ago. So yeah, Nick, that's the current situation with Sammy Guevara over in AEW. All I can say is it sounds like it's a good thing that he reached out to Sasha on this. She didn't say whether or not she accepted his apology. She doesn't have to, obviously. Right. But she did say, I mean, the fact that she said we had to talk, it's good that we had to talk. That's a start of something. So I'm glad that the healing process, it seems, has begun.
As hard as it is for me to say, this feels like the best possible outcome of this given the circumstances. It could have gone south really bad had Sammy doubled down, had he not reached out, had Sasha not taken his call, had AEW actually boldface fired him. For all parties involved, for something of this to happen during this time of hashtag speaking out where this is happening, it feels like it's been handled in the most level-headed, professional manner possible. Doesn't excuse the actions in any way, but
No.
I believe in second chances. Most of the time, not third, but I'll give people a second chance, right?
Yeah.
But I like the way that this was handled. I like that there was a conversation between the two parties, and I like that there is rehabilitation efforts put forward as opposed to just sheer consequence.
Everything seems to be focused on learning and moving forward, and that's really and as you said, it was handled in a way that I think the original statement was not, and that is maturely.
Yes.
So, thank goodness for that, because not everything is so rosy, unfortunately. Joey Ryan, one of the more famous independent wrestlers out there, currently also wrestling for Impact Wrestling, ironically, for a stable called #CancelCulture. Well, he's getting canceled in a major way. Multiple people, men, women, wrestlers, announcers, fans, have all come out with allegations against Joey Ryan, everything from manipulation to all-out sexual assault. His promotion, Bar Wrestling, here in Los Angeles, which is one of the top promotions here in Los Angeles. It's one of the only places besides PWG that's won the Southern California award for best wrestling promotion.
Yep.
He's been accused by people including Vanessa Craven, Corinne Mink, Roxy, Jetta. They all came out to talk about the horrible things that he's done. He has since deactivated his Twitter account and Bar Wrestling's Twitter account. High Spots has taken down the Bar Wrestling streaming videos. Pro Wrestling Tees has taken down Joey's store. Joey did release a statement before shutting everything down, saying including some of the things is very long. Some of the things that he said were, after speaking with my attorney, I have been advised not to respond to any specific allegations at this time. And the truth of the matter is, I do not want to spend time dissecting which parts of stories are true, which parts are different from what I remember, and which things being said are outright false. It is important to me to use this platform to take responsibility and not attempt to minimize the feelings of anyone that was hurt by me in order to save face. So instead, I would like to take this opportunity to publicly share some parts of my private life with everyone. And he goes on to talk all about his private life and everything that's been going on in his life for the last few years, and why that may be, I don't know, why that may be a reason.
Why would you do that if your attorney just told you to STFU?
Well, he's not speaking to any specific allegations, but he is setting up a framework that possibly could excuse or explain, and it was not a good look, and people definitely came for him about it. The theater where Bar Wrestling was taking place at the Bootleg Theater, they've actually cut association with Bar Wrestling. I've reached out to Bootleg for a statement. I've worked with the owners before, nothing yet. Being the Elite has deleted the Joey Ryan memorial episode, which was episode number 109, and due to Sammy Guevara today, Being the Elite has actually said they're not going to release a Being the Elite today. They're holding off on it. In addition, Ryan Nemeth, who's been on this show speaking about this kind of thing, and Joey Janela, who have both worked with and were friends with Joey, both say that they believe he's 100% guilty, that Ryan called him specifically a monster. And a number of people have come out against him at this point. As I mentioned, Nick, Joey also works for Impact. Impact is having a bit of a storm right now because they actually employ several people that have been named in the Speaking Out movement. Right. But not just Joey. Also, Dave Christ has been accused of bullying in the ring. He was accused of injuring Rich Swann back in the 8-man elimination match in February 2nd. And he was actually the thing with Dave Christ. His bullying has actually had him on the ropes for a while. Pardon the pun. He's actually supposedly already been on the outs. He was kicked out of OVE. He was being forced to dress in the hallways in the back of Impact. So it looked like he was already on his way out with Impact. But now allegations of sexual misconduct are coming out against Dave Christ as well. Michael Elgin, who we know has a history of accusations against him for sexual misconduct, is also being named again by Caitlin Diamond for sending unwanted pictures. Impact is dealing with this by saying, it is a core value of the Anthem organization that we conduct our business with respect and integrity, providing a safe and secure work environment for our employees and performers. We are following carefully the various allegations being made through social media and are reviewing all incidents involving Impact Wrestling talent and personnel to determine an appropriate course of action. As of right now, the word on the street is, Nick, Dave Christ out, Joey Ryan not being invited back, Michael Elgin still up in the air. We're not sure about that. So things happening over at Impact. There's other fallout, too, from all of this. Jimmy Havoc has been suspended by AEW as well, sent to rehab, in fact. They also said they will evaluate his status with the company once he gets out of rehab for substance abuse and mental health issues. Jack Gallagher, who was accused of rape, has been outright fired by WWE. Not future endeavored, fired.
Erased.
Straight up, he's no longer with the company. He had one match on 205 Live with Jake Atlas that aired after the firing. They did not promote it. They didn't put it up, after the fact on YouTube. It happened, but then it's gone. David Lagana, vice president of NWA, has been let go. NWA is now restructuring around him. He was accused of sexual assault. And WWE has released statements about people that are still under investigation, such as Matt Riddle, El Ligero, Jordan Devlin. And essentially what they say is that if we find any hard information, they're fired. Right now, we're still waiting to see all the information coming out. Right. And if there's merit, we're investigating these people. There was apparently hard data, hard info on Jack Gallagher. But all of the situations with Riddle, Devlin, and Ligero are a little more complicated. Yeah. So
there's
lots of fallout.
There's plenty of texts out there that kind of show Riddle doing some infidelity. But assault and rape, I don't think we've seen the hard evidence on that yet, and I believe that's what they're still investigating.
I don't know if you can in this situation. Yeah. The Riddle one's a very complicated one, and I don't know how that's going to fall, especially given how much of a rocket they've strapped to that guy with his call-ups. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with those situations going forward, Nick. And so that's everything that's happening with Speaking Out right now, which is it's barreling along and hopefully ultimately for the better.
Yeah. I like that we're in the position where we can bring light to some of this and show that progress is being made.
Hopefully.
It's horrible and uncomfortable to talk about, but that's the point. We need to talk about it. It needs to be brought to light. It needs to be exposed. And that's the only way it's ever going to be properly dealt with. So look at this as a positive thing to all of you watching this. It might suck that one of your favorite wrestlers is being named, but it's a positive outcome in the end that we're exposing this dark culture that's lived in wrestling for far too long, and it needs to end. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to say about it.
Agreed. You have to get some surgery and surgery sucks, but afterwards you'll be better for it. Just ask The Undertaker. He's had more surgeries than any of us can possibly count, and every time he's come out a little better than he was before he went into the surgery.
I wasn't ready for that hip surgery, though.
Oof. I don't know if he was. It was rough. If you watched The Last Ride last night, the final episode of The Last Ride, the documentary series on Undertaker, aired last night. And one of the things that came out of it is that, as far as he's concerned, he's wrestled his last match. So The Undertaker might now be officially retired, and the Boneyard match with AJ Styles might be his swan song. So right now, the word is going around, Undertaker's retired. He's done. He's out. But I will say this, having watched it as well, a couple of things that he said kind of stuck with me. Yes, he said, this time the cowboy really rides away. Yes, he said, I'm good to walk away because when we started this whole thing, the documentary, he wasn't. Yes, he said that. Yes, he said he feels like he's wrestled his last match. But he also said, if Vince is in a pickle and the Undertaker's there, break the open glass and you can pull out the Undertaker, he might be open to it. So he's not really, he's as retired as he was after the last match. He's freaked out by the Goldberg match because he feels like he almost broke his neck and he's worried about his body falling apart. But he said this before.
You're either retired or you're not.
And in wrestling, you're never really retired until you're 100% retired. That's it.
Listen, if the last image that I have of The Undertaker is him fist in the air on a freaking motorcycle with a building exploding behind him, setting Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows literally and figuratively on fire because they're gone
out
now.
Of the company.
Then by God, that's a way to go out. That's a
good way to end it.
Yep.
That's the way. That's a way to end it. And I agree, Nick. Since the leaving the hat and robes in the ring after the WrestleMania where he faced Roman Reigns and walked away, there has not been such a moment where it's felt so complete. And the documentary, I think, is a part of that.
Yes.
So the documentary being this sort of cleansing, coming out as Mark Calloway and dropping the gimmick and having that closure in the documentary itself. Hopefully he can stay retired. Yeah.
Please do.
But if not, God, I hope it's worth it.
If 5 years from now we hear the gong, everybody's still going to mark the hell out.
Of course we are. Of course we are. Who are we kidding? Right. Finally today, some happy birthdays, Nick. John Tenta, Earthquake, would have been 57 today. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2006. But the big man, of course, an integral part of our childhoods, my childhood. The man sat on Damien. Son of a bitch.
Well, he'll never live that down.
He'll never live that down. No. And also, the champ,
Oh,
the Intercontinental and IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Tetsuya Naito, turned. Yes, Naito girl,
Yes.
we know. He turned 38 today. Happy birthday to the man himself, Tetsuya Naito. And finally, just something to send you all out on. 22 years ago, on this day, Edge made his debut. So Edge debuted 22 years ago today. 22 years ago, Edge debuted.
Wow.
Man, time flies when you're having fun and watching wrestling.
Yes.
But leave you with that. Think about Edge's song. Hope it's stuck in your head for the rest of the day. Happy birthday, and everyone be safe and have a good time out there.
Yes, indeed.
That's the news, Nick.
Well, thank you very much, Surrey and Dangerous, for those updates on our continuing coverage of the hashtag Speaking Out movement. I'm sure this is probably not the end. There is probably likely more to come as we dig deeper and more gets exposed and more. There's more comfort and more trust and more believability that happens to come out. I think you're going to find the bravery increases as there's support for more people to come out with their stories. So stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel here. We will keep you updated as things progress. Happy birthday to Earthquake, begrudgingly, and of course Tetsuya Naito. You can find links to our Discord and all of our other social media stuff down in the links below. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
And we will see you guys next time.